run your. And now we can create our login model. All right, but before we do that, let's close everything and let's install a package. So open your terminal and install the following package: npm install toStand. We're going to use toStand as a lightweight global state management library. Make sure you remember to run your project if you management library. Make sure you remember to run your project if you closed the app. All right. And now let's go and create a new folder called hooks. And inside here, I want to create a new file called useLoginModel.ts. And in here, we're going to import create from toStand. And create a new folder called hooks. And inside here, I want to create a new file called useLoginModel.ts. And in here, we're going to import create from toStand, like that. And we're going to write an interface for our login model. So interface login model store is open, is a type of Boolean, on open, which is a type of function, and on close, which is a type of function as well. That's it. And now we're going to create a hook to control our login model. So const use login model create, just pass in the login model store in these curly brackets right here, open the function and open an arrow function with the parameter set like this, and just return an object again like this. All right. And inside you want to write is open false by default. On open is going to be a method which is going to use a set to change is open true. And we're also just going to copy this and write on close, which is going to change is open to false. And that is it. That is the entire control we need. And remember to export default use login model like that. this. Perfect. Great job. All right. And now let's go ahead and let's go into our components and let's create a new folder called models. Perfect. And inside models, create a new file called login model.tsx. All right. Name the component login model like this. And for now, all it's going to do is it's going to return a div. Perfect. And what I want to do now is I want to go back into our pages_app. And remember when we imported our model here? Well, now we're going to import our login model. All right. Make sure you import it from components/models/login model. Perfect. Great job. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to trigger the controls for our login model. So const login model is equal to use login model like this. Perfect. Now we want to write some states. So const email set email is equal to use state. Const password set password is equal to use state as well. And const is loading set is loading use state false by default. Perfect. All right. Now let's create our onSubmit function. So const onSubmit is going to be equal to use callback. And here we're going to write a try and catch block. So make sure that the use callback arrow function is actually asynchronous like this. Let's handle the error for now. All we're going to do is console log error. All right. Now, in try block, first thing we're going to do is set is loading to true. All right. And now I'm just going to write a comment here which says to do add login, because we currently do not have authentication set. Great. So what I'm going to do after a successful login, because here is going to be something like await sign in blah blah blah. What I'm going to do after that is I'm going to close the model. So I'm going to write login model that on close. Perfect. All right. And also we're going to add another block here after catch, finally, which is just going to set is loading false regardless if we succeed the call or not. But of course, we're going to add an actual login function here later. Okay, now let's look at our dependency array. So we are missing the login model dependency, so make sure you add the login model dependency right here. Great job. All right. Now, before we begin styling our model, let's write our body content. So const body content is going to be equal to a div. The div is going to have the following class names: flex, flex-call, gap-for. And inside, I'm going to put two inputs. So input, which we can, of course, import from /input. The reason we are using /input here is because we are in the components folder, but this one is in models. So it has to go outside models into an input right here. All right. And let's give some attributes here. Placeholder is going to be email. On change is going to take an event and it's going to say set email event.target.value. Value is going to be email, and disabled is going to be is loading. So we want to disable the input if we are loading. And on change, we want to control the email value right here. Great. And you can just copy this entire input and just change email to password right here. Change set email to set password. And change the value to password. Perfect. Great job. All right. And now we're going to replace this div with our model component. So go ahead and import the model component again from /model. Perfect. And what I'm going to write is disabled is loading, is open is going to be the login model that is open. Title is going to be login. Action label is going to be sign in, just to switch it up a little. On close is going to be login model that on close. On submit is going to be on submit function, which we have created right here, which is going to do an actual authentication in the future. All right. For body, we want to pass our body content. Perfect. And now you're not seeing anything, but if you actually go to use login model in our hooks and change the default is open to true, you are actually able to see our log. Login. Perfect. And if you try and click close, it's going to work because we have passed the onClose function to call login model.onClose, which changes it to is open false. Perfect. Amazing, amazing job. All right. Now, I'm going to create another model, which is going to be called register model. And for that, I'm just going to go ahead and go into our hooks. Let's just close everything. Go into your hooks, and you can copy use login model, and you can rename it to use register. All right. And what we're going to change is we're going to rename login model store to register model like this. So we're going to have register model store, use register. Register model and export use register model. Everything else can stay exactly the same. Great. Now you can go into your components, into models, and guess what? You can copy login model as well and rename it to register model. Perfect. Let's rename this component into register model, export default register model as well. All right. And we can actually leave this login model control because we're going to need it. You're going to see why in a second. But below that, I also want to import register model. So use register model like this. Perfect. You see how easy it is to control global state with Zustand? That's why I prefer it. All right. Now, besides email and password, we're actually going to need some more fields here. So I'm just going to write const name, set name, use state, empty string, and const username, set username, use state empty string as well. All right. And now what I'm going to write is I'm gonna just change this onSubmit function a little bit. So instead of closing the login model, we're gonna close the register model. And we can change the comment to do add login to do register and login. All right. And now let's just change our body content a little bit. So we're gonna have an email, but before we set our password, we're gonna create an input for our name. And here you wanna change set name and make sure the value is name as well. Copy the input again, and we're gonna do the same for username. And again, set username right here, and make sure you change the value to username as well. All right. And now if we go down, let's just modify this a bit. So isOpen is going to be controlled by register model isOpen, and onClose is going to be controlled by register model onClose. The title is going to be changed to create an account, and the action label is going to be register. All right. Now let's go back into our pages underscore app, and let's import register model. Just like that. All right. And as you can see, we now have our register model showing up. So just quickly, let's go back into our hooks and make sure the default is open is actually false in use login model, and also make sure that is open is default false in use register model as well. We don't want it to be open by default. All right, but just for now, I'm gonna enable it so you can see what we're doing. All right, so what we have to do now is create a little toggle right here, which is gonna ask whether we already have an account so we can switch to a login model. So let's go into our register model right here. And below this body content, we're gonna create another constant called footer content. In here, open a div, and let's give it the following class name: text dash neutral dash 400 text dash center and empty dash 4. Open a paragraph, which is gonna say already have an count question mark, and after this, just give it an empty space and write a span, which is gonna say sign in. Actually, just make sure you put like an empty space here and write sign in. All right. And now let's style this a span. Class name is gonna be text dash white cursor dash pointer hover underline. All right. Now go below and add footer and use the footer content which you just created. And great. Now below this register, we have a question asking us if we already have an account and whether we want to sign in instead. And what we want to do now is on click, we want to close the register model and open the login model. And we're going to do that by creating a useful little function, which is going to be called onToggle. So below on submit, create a new function called onToggle, which is going to be a use callback. And what I'm going to do here is first I'm going to disable it if we are loading. So if is loading, we're just going to break the function because we don't want to switch if we are in the middle of creating an account. And what I'm going to do next is register model that on close and login model that on open. Just like that. And of course, remember to pass is loading, register model, and login model to the dependency array. And now we can use this onToggle method, which we created, and create an onClick on this span right here. So onClick and just pass the onToggle button. Perfect. And now Now, if you actually try and click sign in, you can see that we have closed the register model and opened the login model. All that's left to do now is to create the exact same thing for our login model. So let's go back into login model here. And first, what I want to do is I want to copy the onToggle function from here. So copy the onToggle function right here in the register model, go back in. In the login model, and just above on submit, paste the onToggle. We're gonna get an error because we don't have register model imported, so make sure you do that. Const register model, use register model like this. All right, great job. And now we have to write a footer content right here. And for that, you can also copy it from the register model. So just go here and all right, great job. And now we have to write a footer content right here. And for that, you can also copy it from the register model. So just go here and copy the content, footer content, and below body content, just paste it right here. But we're gonna write some different text. So we're gonna say first time using Twitter, and instead of sign in, it's going to be create an account. All right, copy the photo. footer content, and just write footer equal footer content, and make sure you don't misspell. So footer with 2 O's. Great. And now our login model has a question. First time using Twitter, create an account. Great. And of course, don't forget to modify the onToggle function, right? So once we click create an account in the login model, we want it to be a little bit different. So we want to close the login model and we want to open the register model. So when you compare the two functions, onToggle in login model closes the login model and opens the register model. But in register, it does the opposite. In register model, we close the register model and open the login model. So if you try now, you can see that we can switch between our models, and of course, we can close them as well. Great job. And now I just want to give you a way to open the login model from this dashboard. Before we do that, let's open everything up. Go back into hooks one more time, open both of them, and just confirm that the is open is default to false in all of the models, because we don't want them to be open by default. All right. All of the models, because we don't want them to be open by default. All right. And for now, I'm just gonna say that when we click this tweet function, let's open a model. So for that, let's go into components, let's go into layout, and let's click on sidebar tweet button right here. And we're gonna change this on click. So we're gonna say const on click, use callback. And we're just gonna say, okay, let's replace this with on click like that. And let's just import login model. So const login model. Use login model like this. And all we're gonna do is login model on open. Great. And make sure you pass the login model to the dependency array. Great. And now if we click on tweet, it's actually gonna open our login model and we can switch to create an account. Great job, amazing job. In the next part of the tutorial, we're actually gonna create an authentication and create our models in the database.